ace-king. He's not afraid of variance, Nick. 4 betting to 30 million with 42 million back, and then the rest of the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, again,
calls it all in.
This moment was so wild.
151.4 million chip pot. The flop, kings looked cozy. Wozniak's rail was holding on. The turn, the queen. Hang tight, because you might think that it's the 10, but no, it's the ace that rolled off. I said it was the turn, it was the river. It didn't matter where it happened. That was going to be the reaction. I was shocked there wasn't any lava spewing out of the rail just based on the volcanic nature of things.
It was so breathtaking. And I mean, the grinder is putting together sort of the greatest run in tournament poker history in a lot of ways. You know, there's room for interpretation, but with the 4th PPC this year, being where he is right now in the main and just hitting that card, it's all just...
He only had 3 actual outs in that particular spot, making it even more insane. Just really quickly, though, Nick, he marches to the beat of his own drum, does the grinder. He's not out here amongst the ilk of the GTO that are often referenced in the high roller communities, just zigging, zagging, doing it his way and doing it to great effect.
Yeah, you know, he's a singular sort of talent in live poker tournaments, and I think you summed it up really nicely. This is insane. It's a really beautiful thing to watch. And you know, Grinder, it was funny. I played with him day 1 of the PPC and kind of knew he was going to win. Or at the very least, it was that feeling. It's all happening again. He's so calm. He's so hard to kind of deal with. And it's just a different sort of thing, man. And this is truly wild. For him to have the chip lead 5 left in the main is something else.
Well, listen, the wilderness didn't stop with the grinder as we flash back to the moment for Margets, the hand that she played. We touched on it against Hallaert. It was effectively a hand of poker, but on a scale and a stage that likely the average poker player will never even come within sniffing distance of, Nick, and that's what magnifies both the joy for someone like Hallaert who ends up emerging victorious with the flush, and also the pain when it comes to her enduring that roller coaster after the jack-high flop.
This was nicely played from Margets, and by the way, she played great poker for days. I mean, it was really impressive. As we can see, slides into the lead, and we know the heartbreak is coming.
Those 6s, you could see Hallaert recognizing, perhaps more so than Margets Rail did, that there was still stuff to fade in the shot.
Overwhelming, and the adrenaline dump, or you know, all the emotions flooding out. I could only imagine. So,
well, as many emotional and spectacular moments as the World Series has delivered to us here this summer, for me, and I know for many who have come to appreciate the body of work that you've turned in over the course of your entire career, as well as here in the booth, that many are thankful for, Nick. There was one that was very special. This man is far too humble ever to bring it up himself, but just get a look at New York's finest, who was inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame. Nick Schulman himself, 64th inductee. Cash Game Streets, I confess, you lightened my wallet for many years online when we rumbled together 2 decades ago. 7 times you've been adorned with the World Series of Poker bracelet, including here this year. Just for those that didn't have it didn't matter where it happened. Who hadn't had the opportunity maybe to just kind of get a glimpse into what that was like for you. Share, if you would, the gravity of nature of things.
It was so breathtaking. It was a special moment. You know, I have a hard time talking about these things because I find I don't really know what to say or how to put it into words. But of course, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I guess I'm such a big sports fan. You know, in most sports, the Hall of Fame, it's over.
He only had
I feel like I'm finally starting to play okay. You know, like
take the over on
But
okay.
I'm saying, you know, so it was a little bit, there was a little bit of angst with it, but, you know, I'm very happy and all of that.
Well, as you've hit one out of the park, there's some people in the on-deck circle with respect to induction, Nick, and let's walk through them because prior to today's break desk, there were some names that you really singled out, and it's challenging because only one person can make it in every single year. There's a bit of a backlog, and there's some discussion about how to fix this, but let's start with who else but the Grinder. Won his 4th PPC this year, and now he might win the main.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Seidel who said, you know, just put him in. Like, let's just skip after the PPC. So I would think he has to get in at some point, you know. We're talking about 4 PPCs and potentially the main. Even just having this chip lead 5-handed in the main, this is iconic stuff. This is a one-of-a-kind legend, kind of like a John Daly in golf. I was thinking about other sports analogies, you know. He said something to a friend of mine that I thought was really profound one night, deep into the night. But he said, I understand things I just can't explain. And it really rings sort of true. You know, he just knows what you have a disproportionate amount of the time. He's a beautiful talent, so.
Well, what we've got is not too much time, but 5 other names I know you want to touch on quickly. Let's talk Jeremy Osmus. Basically a part of the furniture when it comes to deep runs.
Yeah, I mean, Osmus has been one of the best players in the world for a long time, and his results are tremendous. And just the way he carries himself, you know, he's a great guy. He does it the right way. And that's what's so tough about the Poker Hall of Fame with the whole one gets in. I know some people have advocated for more. One is really tough, but to me, Osmus seems like a Hall of Fame type player.
Well, you do have to wait until you're 40 years of age to be eligible. Of course, first ballot, there are some people in that conversation. Last year, this man won 3 bracelets in 1 year, sort of called his shot. I'm talking, of course, about Scott Seaver. His turn certainly would be a legitimate one.
Seaver, another iconic player, and last year was really special. It wasn't just that he won the 3 bracelets, but it was kind of the way he won it. He had one hand in deuce. That was really remarkable. Played high-stakes mixed cash. He's great in every game and kind of a little bit larger than life. So, you know, Seaver's getting in as well.
Well, how about Phil Galfond? You know, not to pivot too hard, but this is a man who absolutely terrorized anybody that was willing to grab a mouse and take him on in the 4-card streets for about as long as I can remember. Has sort of, you know, lessened the burden and the schedule of late, but his body of work speaking for itself too.
Yeah, and he was, you know, one of the first, if not the first, really influential in poker sort of content, coaching, training videos, et cetera, where he's phenomenal and you know, all his stuff is worth firing. Will play anybody heads up. PLO has beaten almost everybody.
Right.
So this is so hard, you know. I kind of hate this conversation, but it's a part of the fabric of the game.
Yeah, it's obviously a little bit uncomfortable. And if you thought it was challenging after we brought up those 5 names, how about Jason Kuhn?
Yeah.
He's becoming eligible, a 12-time Triton Super High Roller Series winner. Obviously outside the borders of the World Series, Nick, but that is about as...
Is that
the Raleigh one? It might.
with the twisty curl
what do you
there?
mean is that guy's name? I thought you were a sports fan.
Well, I don't.
Did they not get baseball, Oakland baseball in upstate New York when you were growing up?
I know this may surprise you, Nick, but we didn't have a lot of the Oakland A's games in Western New York out there in where I'm from.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I was aware of Raleigh Fingers because I'm a sports fan, Brent.
I didn't know what MTV was until I went to college.
Here's what it is, Jeff. The Oakland A's during the Raleigh Fingers era, a little too successful for a Bills fan to really embrace.
Now, hold on. What was the Raleigh Fingers era when?
I mean, I think when the Oakland A's were winning a bunch of championships.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Was that like the McGuire, Jose Canseco era? Moving on.
This Mizrachi defends with the ace-3 suited.
Didn't the
Hallaert
ball
it
go
open.
off the guy's head? And
That was Jose Canseco.
They were a little worse.
They were a championship team?
No, not
before.
them.
Seems like that would have lost some games. Here we are.
Yep, he's Brent Hanks alongside FS1's Nick Wright. I'm Jeff Platt. We're thrilled to have you all with us. Natalie Bodie's on the floor. Nick Schulman and Ali Najad at the break desk. Then they'll move into the broadcast booth. And we'll go out there. Full day of coverage planned. Full 2 days, I should say. It's way down to a champion tomorrow.
See if Mike gets a little frustrated. The Hallaert Sand a moment ago calling the 3-bet, forced to give it up. Now just defending with ace-3 of clubs out of the big blind. He's got no taste here. Not saying he's done with it. He could very easily put in a check raise, and recognizing that the 9-8X texture should really be all his board.
And he's got some decent turn cards with this particular holding.
And he's sticking around.
How much?
Goes check call.
And all of a sudden, this feels like a somewhat important pot for Mike.
Absolutely. Turn brings another 8.
Brian, if he liked his hand on the flop, he should like it still.
One would think this is a good card. I don't believe that Kenny can bet. And look at the grinder. He certainly can. If he's reaching and leading, this probably just wins.
Does reach, does lead.
Absolutely can have all of the 8s.
Does win.
Very nice grinder.
And that's where I find it fascinating, because everybody talks about grinder not being studied, and I'm sure that's true. But that's a common theme amongst those people who are studied. When the middle card pairs, you can donk bet. He just intuitively felt it and knew it.
Perhaps has picked up on that trend that you can pick up on if you want to make optimal decisions in high-pressure spots. Then GTO Wizard AI has you covered. Study any situation, any bet size, making it the ultimate tool to prepare yourself for those critical moments at the table. Check it out now at gtowizard.com/pokergo to get started for free and save 10% off your first purchase.
Mike, there's a black.
Huh?
You know
There's a
what?
black in the front.
Product has gotten a lot of, I think, great free advertising during this World Series. And I hope it's not a GTO Wizard competitor. Booth Wizard.
Oh, the Booth Wizard.
Booth Wizard. Which I've got to tell you.
Oh, man.
Listening to Nick tell Ali he spent the previous night drilling spots on Booth Wizard was one of the highlights of what's already been a brilliant main event.
Yeah, and you know what else, by the way, is I see Dunaway's 3-coin shirt. Shout out Randy Sadler out there on the rail. The night shift coin, I hate to take the jelly out of their donut, but somebody created it.
Really?
It's now out there in this weird world of meme coins.
I gotta tell you, and maybe this is more for off the air, I have a good feeling on who might have done that.
Don't buy it, by the way. This is not
Dunaway.
Dunaway is unreal.
Hallaert opens. Dunaway's 3-betting with the 7-3 suited
He's
from the
unreal.
cutoff with the chip leader behind him.
He truly just doesn't care. He's going to put these pocket 8s in absolute hell.
He's just going to put him right into the muck.
Yeah, the 8s just fold.
7-3 suited. Dunaway expecting a lot of tight play. He's trying to exploit
gonna be
it.
right.
Yeah. Kenny might call. I mean, the hand is really good, really nice. But there are, again, these giant payouts, these ladders. And you're going to see tighter folds than usual. Especially from the well-studied players like Kenny Hallaert.
I think Kenny's going to fold, and this is just going to work.
I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah, there it is. It does get through. With the 7-3 suited from our 2023 World Series of Poker Monster Stack champion.
Yeah, so the Monster Stack, honestly, I didn't feel like I feel like I'm a way better player now because of that experience. I think being on stage, the bright lights, so to speak. I think I'm a lot more calm this time. I feel like the monster stack, just playing that and going through that field and learning, and I think it just helped me tremendously for this moment, and I just feel ready to play. I feel like in a crazy zone. It's good.
Been pretty dialed in. Works in the oil and gas industry. We mentioned Guinea snowboarding. You guys know Hallaert was an electrician?
8 years he was an electrician. I'm not making this up. He was an electrician for 8 years and then went into poker.
Was the investment consultant. Leo Margets hosts a podcast. So does Nick Wright.
You ever stuck a fork in an outlet before, Jeff, you know, as a child?
No, I have not.
It is not a pleasant experience. And
Thank you for
I would
letting
imagine
us know.
8 years of being electrocuted on the job, you find something else.
Also, Dunaway's about to have one of the most eclectic Hinden Mob pages ever, where if you sort it by biggest cash, third place, biggest cash of his career, $68,000 and change at the $1,700 Circuit Choctaw main event.
Just a good old boy, man. Born
Second
in Oklahoma
place.
and then Texas.
Yeah, second place on his career cashes, 1.1 million, the monster stack, and first place somewhere from 7th to 1st in the main event.
At least 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And he could finish somewhere from 7th to 1st. That's all very live.
Absolutely.
The majority of people that are tuning in, they see a lot of themselves in a guy like Dunaway and in a guy like Waz. Just blue collar, regular person, loves to play poker. And it happens. You can final take.
With the pair of sixes, and then Adam windmilled it.
Showed the brightness. And we will at some point, hopefully very soon, we'll get that hand out.
Yes.
And share it on social.
But it was, this is maybe me just trying to create a storyline, but it felt inspired by Mizrachi's presence, in that there is a bit of a early on old school, I don't believe you. And so we're just going to go back and forth like the famous, I don't even remember what it was, but the famous Ivy hand in Europe at the final with the heads up when it just went click, click, click to a final shove. Grinder also won a hand with ace-3 that he went out and took after he was bleeding off some chips a bit to stabilize. I think those are the most noteworthy things we've had so far.
So we do apologize. We are back. We are stable, as seems to be the case, both on PokerGo as well as on our YouTube channel.
I got to say, if it was going to happen, we didn't miss any bust outs.
That was the time.
It was there was one amazing.
The Hendrix hand's pretty sick,
but it's not the very end.
Right.
Created some firewalls.
John Sin in 2018, the last player to start the final table in 4th and finish it on top.
Speaking of firewalls, maybe get a couple of those set up internally, right?
Yeah, might need those.
Yeah.
in my opinion, the world's greatest football writer, Bill Barnwell, watching and assigning me a version of the Jeff Platt curse to the stream. Saying,
wow.
You show up and the stream goes down.
That's what a lot of people are talking about.
Dunaway
Fair.
has been very, very active thus far. We expected that coming in. Now he's got the goods.
So we saw Dunaway 3-bet with 3-7 suited. We then saw him 3-bet again with ace-queen off. Both times, Kinney had queen-jack suited, but the table has seen him very active.
Well,
and the
keep
grinder,
your eye on this one here with Grinder and Dunaway.
You hear from Grinder's rail.
feels like we're going up.
It looks like
In the
we're going
overflow
up.
area.
Yeah, this will be annoying if Grinder has to fold after 3-betting.
Dream
Is gonna
spot
do
for
it.
Dunaway. See Grinder 3-bet here. Hendrix, a very pretty king-jack suited.
Could get him in trouble. I don't think it will in this moment, but you know Hendrix coming in expected the fireworks between Dunaway and
Right.
Mizrachi. They will be the most active players. If he finds these cold 4-bet types of scenarios, he might take it. This might not be a spot he elects to go with, but we'll see. Hendrix playing some street poker early on. That hand that we talked about that Nick broke down was 6-deuce off.
He has created a bit of separation between himself and Margets and Bojovic.
I think Mizrachi said good.
Yeah, he did.
Muttered it over.
Now, assuming the 4-bet is coming in, we know what Jeff and his fellow wizards would do with ace-4 suit.
I don't know about that.
no.
5-bet jam.
I'm telling you, if Dunaway gives any sort of rope here, and he's going to make it, what is the size?
35?
Oh,
Well, there's
No
no,
rope.
rope.
he says, let's just go with this.
Whoa. 35. I mean, that just shuts it down.
Yeah, he's like,
Didn't recognize you for a second.
So much for that. I think. I mean, maybe Grinder still finds a way to get it in, but I doubt it.
Sounds like you're committed.
That is a really fascinating decision by Dunaway.
Yeah.
Almost just simply
basically jamming.
declaring,
Yeah.
I have no interest, even with kings, on playing a huge pot out of position against this guy. And so I want to remove all decisions. Am I misreading that? Is there
Think
any
so.
other?
I think Dunaway's just saying, bro, I don't want to mess around right
Yeah.
here. That's it. I'm not messing around. Let's just move on. I'm not trying to get kings cracked, you know. 7 left in the main.
The beat on rail. As we remind you that NAPT Las Vegas is back at Resorts World for the 3rd year in a row. It runs November 3rd through the 12th. The highlights include the 50K Super High Roller and the 5K main event. Plus, there's a 1K PokerStars Open at the start of the series and a 1K Women's High Roller. PokerStars players in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, and Ontario have the chance to win their way to the NAPT.
If you got it, you got it. You know?
You got it, you got
Wise
it.
man once said.
I was not expecting to boy, so much ice.
The overflow areas are packed.
Empty cup or something. You're in America, you should know you get a lot of ice.
This is a hot ticket.
You know that when I come to America, I travel with my own coffee. That's the level.
No respect for the fine American coffee makers.
I mean, the fine American
I don't
coffee
know who
makers are just importers, right? Unless you're in Hawaii. I feel like it's, I mean, I get great coffee from an amazing grocery store in New York City called Zabar's, but I don't think it's local.
Not made in America?
I mean, I assume our coffee is not here, but again, I would tell Leo, like, you can get amazing coffee in America.
Stuff, yeah. A bit expensive here, perhaps, for the good stuff.
Tariffs? Why is it expensive here?
I knew. Brent's eyes lit up. And here's one of my favorite things about Brent Hanks. You can't ever accuse him of being political because he really just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right. Good point.
Like, what tariffs is a good line, but I don't know who is supposed to be insulted by it.
I'm not insulting anyone.
Exactly.
I'm
Clearly,
asking,
yeah.
begging the question.
And what, again, I apologize, just to go back. You taught which class?
This actually is good for my case. 5th and 6th grade.
Social studies.
Yeah, we learned a lot about the Boston Tea Party. Tariffs.
Yeah.
I guess we only play 60.
It's a revolution.
32.
Margets defends with the Jack Deuce suited. Let's see a deuce in the window.
And again, we were having a slight geopolitical conversation, but it is noteworthy.
Very slight, yes.
Dunaway just opening under the gun +1.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not outrageous,
If he likes
but
the hand, he just plays it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that with Dunaway. He treats this like a cash game,
I gotta
which
tell
makes
ya.
him dangerous.
it also reminds me of my style, which
dear.
I've got to tell you, I'm not sure is great for Dunaway's chances, but it's giving me hope.
0 mistakes.
No mistakes.
Leo, non-believer.
Turns a gutter.
See if Dunaway fires up a second shell, turning that gutter. He just looks like he's in the zone, right? What we heard in his interview.
Oh, he does check back.
River brings the 10 of spades.
Does Dunaway just give up ever? Are you allowed to give up?
Really hard for him to bluff at this putt. It might work. He's playing it sort of like he could have had a flush draw.
Right.
Bet flop. Okay, I get called. Little resistance. Flush comes home.
And if you are against something like this, you can win with a bet. Potentially. Not definitively, but and checking, you're just giving it away.
Just going to give it up.
Might be a wise just wave it sort of scenario. Also some information gathered from Dunaway. What is Leo defending with?
Yeah, and maybe she has 4 or 5 and your 8 high just wins it.
That'll be good for Leo Margets, the 27th place finisher in 2009.
I was 27th in 2009, so of course it's very unfair to judge my game based on what I know now, but obviously, you know, like I'm a different, how not, no? A different player 17 years later. I think obviously I've improved a lot in terms of my technical skills, but the biggest difference is the mental. I think the main event is a super emotional event where you need to know how to manage your emotions very well. But then I don't know, my mantra, my goals has been to play to be proud of myself and have fun. Because since we are here, let's have fun.
Leo Margets, first woman to make the main final table in 30 years. Started working, by the way, after school at IMG.
Oh, really?
Sports management company.
So if I may, Jeff, just for the audience, because the blinds just went up, I just think it's worth noting. Bojovic is down 10 million, Hendrix is up 10 million. That's essentially due to that one hand we described. Wozniak is up a clean 50 million, again, from where they started. And then Dunaway, Hallaert are up 13 and 18. Leo is basically dead even. And then Grinder's down 24 million from where he started. So he's really the only player other than Bojovic that got involved in that weird hand that isn't in a better position from where they started. And that's obviously because we've had two players bust out, so those chips are distributed elsewhere. But I just wonder how Grinder is when he starts the day in second and now all of a sudden sees himself right in the middle of the pack and far from the biggest stack, how that lands for him.
Well, he's kind of forcing it a little bit with the open and the ace deuce.
Right? Ace deuce off. He's just right back to work. He will be relentless. I don't expect him to really ever pump the brakes and say, okay, now I got to tighten up. He's just going to keep coming after it.
Got to feel good to get that one over 75 million in chips now. 1 million, 2 million, a 2 million at big blind ante. Bojovic the shortest stack, but still comfortable. Still more than 20 bigs. Was King 10 off. Our chip leader, no thanks.
And Waz, after getting premium after premium, and the very first hand of the day, flops a set of fives against ace queen on queen jack 5 board. The last 40 minutes or so has been pretty content to fold. Leo, you'd imagine, not folding here.
She has King 10 as well. I keep going back to this. You wonder if Waz opens the King 8 suited earlier. Then Mangini jams ace queen suited and Hallaert folds the fours. Waz then folds the King 8 suited. It's just, you just never know.
It's kind of mind-boggling and warped to think about how just randomness can affect so much, especially in tournament poker.
On day 8, we had a 3-bet by ace queen into Waz's 4-bet with ace king. Padron has jacks, has Waz covered, tanks forever, folds them.
13.3.
The ace queen calls off, and Waz holds and propels him here. And now Kenny done getting pushed around.
3-betting with the ace 4 off.
Leo started the hand around 25, 26 bigs and out. And Nick, to what you were just talking about, that hand with Waz and with Padron, who finished in 10th place. Had he gone with the 2 jacks, Waz is out.
Correct. Yes.
Both players would have been eliminated, and Padron potentially may have been the chip leader coming into the final table.
I should have. I didn't finish it. I apologize. It came 8 high. The run out.
Right.
And by the way, you say both players would have been out. Ace queen probably folds.
Might just muck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And instead, Waz is sitting here with more than a quarter of the chips in play. 1.5 million locked up, and again, Jeff's the wizard. His stack right now is in real dollars worth 4.5 million.
I think it was worth 4.5 entering the day, so yeah, probably 6-ish. I don't know.
A little more. It's worth More than third place money is what
Yeah, for sure.
my educated, and by educated, having studied 0 ICM spots ever, self
Very
says.
educated.
Is this our... Oh, small blind. I was going to say I thought this was an open limp. My apologies.
6-4-3, straight draws for both. Waz is of the open-ended variety. Dunaway leads for 3.2 million. After talking with Waz over the last couple days, it feels like he's just in the middle of this magical experience. He's like got enough confidence in himself, like, hey, yeah, I'm playing solid. I realize some of these guys are really good.
Oh.
But I can put pressure on him, especially here. He makes it 8.5 million. Nice.
For Waz, this is a free roll, right? He said it.
Yeah, he said it.
Late,
Yeah.
2 nights ago at the end of the night that just has no pressure on his shoulders.
Dunaway makes the call.
Makes the call.
And Waz turns the straight.
This could get Dunaway in trouble if he wants to try and represent the Waz holding. I don't think it'll happen, but if somehow Waz were to check here, he would be opening up that river door for Dunaway to have to bluff, assuming it's some sort of brick. He does check. This is gross.
Rafer brings another 6.
75-7.
Waz may have just given him more and more value for that turn straight. He may have opened up the door to receive max value.
You saw this coming, Brent.
It's happening, yeah.
And the call on the flop is... I know he had the best hand with queen high. It feels like you see a lot of times with that gut shot, a check raise on the flop. But a check
lead.
call...
He led for 3.2, and then Waz raised.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Waz is locked in.
Yeah, just snaps it off.
Dunaway right
Dunaway
in the
mucks.
Waz doesn't have to show his hand either.
Oh.
As he extends his chip lead. He's got more than 80 million more than anybody else.
He's got more than 30% of the chips in play.
And again, not to be results oriented, and I'll ask you guys, but Dunaway's call of Waz's raise that on the flop is highly irregular, right? Sometimes in those spots when you have the gut shot, you put in the raise yourself. But just calling his raise with queen 7 on a 3-4-6 is not typically a thing, right? Am I
do
wrong?
think, to your point, you see that kind of action go check raise
Yes.
with a hand like that versus on 6-4-3.
I think
small blind versus big blind go lead.
Yeah, I think normally it's, you know, for Dunaway, check call or check raise is best rather than lead and then call a raise on the flop. But, you know, we got 2 overs to the board plus a gut shot to the straight. It's not that bad. I think really
And he was ahead. I mean, to be fair, queen high was
that's
ahead.
why that
but
shows you why you see a lot of continues there.
Yeah.
I just love the way that Waz decided to play it. Checking back turn, having made
knowing that Dunaway
straight, that's how he was able to maximize his profits that hand.
It's been a rough last couple hands for Margets as she opens the king 10 again and again gets 3-bet. This time by Dunaway, this time much smaller.
Grinder just hates to fold.
He's just trying to find a way to get in there.
Every time he has to fold.
I don't think he will be. I mean, we saw it when he had ace-jack off at the start of play with 18 players remaining and just open rip, essentially 20 bigs under the gun.
Yeah.
When he gets into this, what he feels is short mentality, he's going to go for it. I'm telling you, Grinder will get all of his chips in the middle before anybody else. He really will.
Dunaway. Oh. Just keeps coming.
He's going to run into it once more as Waz looks down at kings.
Second time that Waz has had kings, I believe.
His 3-bet is to 10 million.
Oh.
And Grinder has ace-king.
Oh, my goodness. Absolute cooler. Just talking about Mizrachi, right? He's never folding.
You spoke this into existence.
Obviously, you know this. We have no idea what's to come on this broadcast. So
we are spoiler-free watching it with you all at home. He says raise it up.
Here we go. Crowd knows what that means. They're saying, oh, Mikey's getting it in. He's going to go all in. And he's going to be in terrible shape.
Not quite all in.
It's committing.
Makes it 30 million. Everybody else an interested observer, a 400K pay jump.
Dunaway just sort of taking his time before he inevitably bows out of the way.
Waz's turn with the kings.
Want to count? I'm like, a lot. You want to count?
Yeah. Grinder. He wants to count.
I mean, at least an estimate here.
30.
I'm on. Raise all in.
And here we go. More than 151 million in the middle.
Kings, ace, king. Ace, king. Ace,
The winner
king.
of this hand is going to win the tournament. I'm going to say that right now.
I've got kings. He's got ace.
Mizrachi's going to take the chip lead or be out in 7.
If he hits this ace, this place will explode.
Either Mizrachi's got 150 or Wozniak has half the chips in play.
Biggest pot of the main event. Jack 9-7. Clean for the kings. Grinder looks for an ace. We can see one was folded pre. That's why the ace of hearts is grayed out. Turn card is a queen. The straight draw arrives.
All of a sudden.
But he doesn't obviously know That only added 1 out. 3 tens folded.
It's got to be the ace of diamonds, the ace of clubs, or the 10 of diamonds for Michael Mizrachi, or his day is done. To stay alive.
Oh! Oh my God!
He finds the ace on the river.
He only had 3 live outs in the deck.
I'm sure you're rooting for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael the Grinder Mizrachi is your new chip leader after that.
And I understand what I said when it all went in. Sounds, and even when I replayed it in my head, sounds premature. The winner of this hand is going to win the tournament. But if Waz had won it, he's at 260 million with 6 left. And now Grinder,
Fourth time in 2 days, man.
the most dangerous player at the table, if not the most studied,
when I need it.
is the chip leader.
As we take a look at the leaderboard presented by Poker Stars, Mizrachi at more than 150 million, a 40 million lead over Waz. Hallaert in third, Dunaway, Hendrix, Margets, and Bojovic round out this final table. Not sure if it's possible to fill this main event with more drama.
This continues to be the greatest main event in history.
No arguments here.
Made for TV, baby.
It is, in my estimation,
But the way it ran out, like,
undeniably
magical.
the
I didn't
best
want the
of
queens, best
what I
ace
would
for
call
myself, no other outs.
the modern era, like the post-poker boom era of the last 15 to 20 years. It's,
Since Moneymaker, basically.
yes.
Yeah. Well, here he comes.
Now it's easy, right?
Back to work.
I got chips. I can raise every hand now. I even made side bets on me.
And Hendrix, who's played less hands than anyone at the table, and also
Yeah,
played the
41,
most
right?
audacious hand of anyone at the table.
Both with the 6s. Of course, we keep talking about Michael Mizrachi being down to 3 big blinds, somehow making this final table. We've seen the roller coaster ride that's taken place today. But this whole tournament has been the absolute roller coaster for Mizrachi. He bagged less at the end of day 3 than he did at the end of day 1 and end of day 2.
Probably a long night for him before day 3.
He's from Florida, right? A lot of alligators there?
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Alligator blood, Jeff.
I see it.
Perhaps, 23andMe, we'll figure some stuff out about Mizrachi.
To see that he's from Florida? I think 23andMe more goes like way, way back, not just where you're from.
Brent, were
they're
you under the
essentially
impression that
dinosaurs, right? Gators and crocodiles, they've been around since the prehistoric era? I was a social studies teacher, by the way, just reminding you.
I'll check the winner, Grinder says. He's kind of right.
And he does have the winner. So does
I do really appreciate the energy Grinder brings to a poker tournament. Guys showing emotion, fist bumping. I miss that in some of the biggest poker tournaments.
We need that, and now we have it in the biggest poker tournament. We have it from the 7-time bracelet winner, the 4-time Poker Players Championship winner. This is second main event final table. Just an extraordinary run throughout the World Series for the Grinder.
And is this a decent time for a mini rant, Jeff?
Yeah.
90 seconds?
Yeah, we'll give you 90. We can give you 90, right?
Oh, well,
Because obviously, one of the stories of this tournament was Kasuf. And one of the stories of the World Series prior to that was Cabral. And the talking and the antics and the general annoyances. And I understand, I think we all can agree, Kasuf went 7 steps too far and went so far people were like, actually, we need to be worried about him because we think something might be wrong with him. Nobody wants more of that. However, if the trade-off for in our biggest poker events is having more people who show they care, who are not too cool for school and might have a little extra gamble in them and talk and try to bring back a bit of what made so many of us fall in love with the game, is that some people take it a step too far. Me personally, I will take that every day of the week over with respect to great players. But like everyone doing their best Christoph Vogelsang impersonation of I'm going to cover every part of my face I can, I'm going to be stoic. That is not bringing people into the game. That is not fun to watch. And by the way, that doesn't remind any of us that aren't pros what poker is like when we play it. And even the best and biggest poker games in the world that aren't tournaments but are cash games for millions of dollars, people are drinking, they're trash talking, they're having fun, and there usually is a guy or two or a gal or two that gets out of line. And I'm okay with that rather than what has become, for I think a lot of amateur players, what they think is the way they're supposed to play. Like, well, if the best in the world are leaving a chip behind and silent and doing all this, that to me is not what's best for poker. It's not the most fun way to play. And it's one of the reasons I'm rooting for the Grinder, because he is a nice, happy medium. He's not insulting anybody. He's not out of line, but he's passionate, he cares, and he's fun.
We gave you 180 seconds there because we're on board.
Great, yeah.
Fully support that entire statement.
Well, 180 seconds is about the shortest I've delivered a rant in 10 years, guys. So I did my best there.
Do want to create a more welcoming atmosphere.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go, Brent. Hendrix deuces on the button.
Awful lay down.
Marget's the ace-10 suited. 20 bigs.
Can't just limp the button one time. You know, just one blind. Just call. No.
Grinder called a 3-bet with deuces earlier. He's now the chip leader. Just saying.
Great point. As Hallaert looks down at 2 6s in the big blind. Again, Marget's starting the hand a little less than 20 bigs. These are 2 hands perhaps worthy of doing battle in this specific scenario. Hallaert does jam.
Yeah, and this hand might be too
suited.
good. I think it has to call. I think ace-10 suited is a call. She knows it. She's gathering herself.
I call.
And she makes the call.
As 10 de corazones. As 10 de corazones. Me ha hecho push directo. ¿Contra qué? Contra 6. As 10 de corazones.
Ace-10 of hearts against 6s. Margets goes to a rail like she's been doing. Can hardly watch.
Bien jugado, bien jugado. Cáelas. Corazón.
Ha salido 6, ¿no?
No ha salido, tranquila.
No se dio nada todavía.
Tranquila, cae, corazón, cae.
One of the most significant flips that we've seen in World Series of Poker main event history.
Rey dama J. Corazón, corazón, corazones. As, 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 as.
Jack of Hearts, 7-5, 3 to the Royal. For now, Margets looks for an ace or 10.
Queen of Hearts.
That would be a fun one.
Viene las, viene las. As, as.
The turn is the ace
Oh, but it's a spade.
of spades. Not over yet. Hallaert looks for the 6 or the spade to eliminate Leo Margets. River card is a spade. Oh.
La puta pica, tío, no la había visto, tío.
No pasa nada, Leo, lo has hecho súper, ¿eh? Eres la campeona, eres la número 1, eres la mejor.
Oh, the air is taken out of the room as the well-deserved round of applause starts to come in for Leo Margets. A 7th place finish and an outstanding performance that made history at the World Series of Poker main event.
2 spots shy of the best finish for a woman in this tournament's history. The most money ever made by any woman in this tournament's history. Her 2nd career deep run at the main. And it certainly felt like the person the poker world at large was rooting for. And now, I don't know about you guys, I'm stunned that 90 minutes in, we've lost a third of the field.
We've seen this before. It's crazy how many times we have seen it.
We have seen
Just-
it, yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
The amount of action in the first hour, hour and a half compared to what we typically see at main event final tables.
Well, you have Dunaway, who's been mixing it up, Grinder, who wants to play every hand, Wozniak, who has played all the hands he's supposed to, he's just been dealt huge hands.
The dream. The dream. Russ.
Insane. Insane. 1.5 hours, right? So hard to root against her.
Hear the players
Four pocket pairs, that's for sure.
talking to it's everyone, the entire world was rooting for
You guys
Margets.
already owe me a few beers by now.
Beer? Okay.
Thank you.
I was thinking bottles of wine, but beer's fine with me.
I'm more a wine drinker, actually.
Okay.
So let's settle for
All right,
that.
I'll get you wine.
Dunaway wants to just play ball, folks. He's in there with the 9 deuce off.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel
Pops
like
a 9.
It's going to be more than a beer or a bottle of wine.
Did it feel like he was coming or not, the spade?
Never in doubt.
Huh?
Never a doubt. And listen, it seems like Leo has not wanted to really lean into the fact that a woman hadn't made the final table in 30 years. Not that she was running from it, she didn't seem to really want that to be the story, and I understand that. But what is undeniably true is the poker world would be better off the more people that play the game, the more people that play tournaments, the more people that are involved in anything, the better that industry gets. You get more personalities, you get more money, you get more interest, you get more all of it. And I think Leo making the final table obviously was great. And I also think that her unique, I don't know if personality is the right word, disposition just seemed to be one that people naturally were going to root for.
For sure.
I say that in part because I have a bet on Hendrix, and I just declared Grinder was going to win, and I found myself very sad that she was eliminated.
And It's, of course, with all due respect to a guy like Kenny Hallaert, who everybody seems to love in the poker industry. But you could hear a pin drop in this arena after that spade rolled off on the river.
Keep your eyes on this hand, not to get too far away from the action. Flop went check, check. Mizrachi decided to bet turn. Dunaway called, and now Mizrachi obviously would have to turn these 2 fours, I believe, into a bluff if he bets once more. Trying to target a 9, jack, 7, just shuts it down. He's going to be kicking himself.
Very nice.
Just one for Dunaway. That just one of many battles that we'll see between those two.
You'll be a big one.
Grinder with ace-king again.
And again, he gives the
guys.
Not that we're big live reads guys.
I'm just telling you. I think Grinder's got a live tell. 2 thumbs to the
We're
skies
2 for 2 on that one.
is ace-king off.
Oh, and it's 2 jacks for Hendrix. Starting the hand with a little less than 30 bigs, facing the open from the chip leader.
Worry about you guys.
Second smallest stack on the table.
Could be.
Grinder just said, I'm not
Bet
worried
you he
about
folds.
him. I'm worried about you
told you.
guys.
It's going to be a 40-second take and fold. It's in the camera.
Hendrix in between just, 3-bet call, I believe, with this hand. But because it's the grinder, as the chip leader who's going to be opening a ton of hands, he says, all right, you know what? 3-bet, I'm willing to play for it all if he 4-bets all in. I don't think we're 3-bet folding 2 jacks against Mizrachi.
No chance.
And I don't think Mizrachi's ever just calling with these chips in this spot.
150 million.
There it is. There's the jam. Hendrix looks back.
He knows he's in a 6 spot right now. The way Mizrachi said that, he's going to call anyway. Here we go.
Here we go once more.
Jacks, ace, king.
Could turn this tide of the tournament once again.
This is straight.
Ace, king, ace, king.
Hendrix will watch alongside his rail.
I'm jacks. Crazy.
Jack 6-3 rainbow. It is Jack. Jack 6-3 rainbow.
Electric atmosphere at the Horseshoe Event Center. Let's see 3. Queen, queen 4. So far, so good for the jacks of Adam Hendrix. The turn is a king. The turn is a king. Hendrix down to 2 outs. It's a jack there for the Iceman. No. Perhaps the toughest player left. One of the best pros out there in the game, Adam Hendrix, out in 6 for $1.9 million.
More than triples his previous career best score for, I think it's fair to say, one of the best young players in the world.
Absolutely.
Not only because I had a bet in on him, that's now in severe jeopardy because I was fading Hallaert.
Cleaning.
It's a kid from Alaska. Go back each summer to do some fishing and eventually stopped fishing and started watching the main event. Inspired him, that led him here today, living out his dream. Final tabling, and he's going to walk home 6th place.
Still has that second dream to accomplish, right? One was final table, the main one was win a World Series of Poker bracelet.
His day will come.
Oh, he's a huge, he will win a bracelet. I feel like the question is how many. And he does get to bring home to his fiancée Kat nearly $2 million. But we are now in an insane position where we have not hit the first break. 4 players are gone. Bojovic is at 18, and everyone else is at well north of 40 bigs.
Things will be a little different this time. Deja vu. Wow, that's a world record, guaranteed. 4 bust outs.
Bojovic has not had a great day, yet he's made $1.4 million in about an hour and a half.
I told you folding makes money.
Yeah, you did.
If you told Bojovic in the first hour 45, you're going to play 6% of the hand, lose 15 million, all because you got in a crazy click war.
5 million?
5 million to go.
And ladder 4 times.
2 players. Thank you.
Just think no way. Or maybe with this exact group, he could see the possibility. Sure glad we got the internet fixed.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Think the fans are excited? You know,
Just
if I was
imagining
at
a world
home on my couch watching the night shift like you and I, all 3 of us have done, not you, Jeff, you've been working, but I would be so angry, throwing stuff at my TV, tweeting left and right, get it back.
I got to tell you, pretty awful timing, though, by those sons of guns hackers, whoever did whatever they did. Because if their goal was to hurt the World Series or the stream or Poker Go, they took out the only uninteresting part of the entire tournament.
The only bad part, the only boring part is what they took out.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything, really.
You missed one very interesting small blind versus blind, Bojovic Hendrix. Nothing else. Everything else has been here.
You cleaned out the rail, man.
Anybody need a bracelet? Wristband?
Any hope Dunaway had of taking this away on the river, not that necessarily he was going to try to, probably just went away there.
Breaking records here for sure.
And I know we've been caught up in the moment, the excitement, but Mizrachi having more than 100 bigs,
One record that counts.
5-handed, is a problem for the other 4.
Interesting, Dunaway calling pre. Just checking back flop and turn. We try to go for it here on the river. He will not.
Only one record that
I
counts
think he
in the
has
variable.
great feel.
Yeah.
You know, he did not expect to win the pot at any point of that hand, and he was right. I don't think Kenny was going to let him off the hook.
All right, it's the Iceman out in 6th, and Adam Hendrix is now standing by with our Natalie Bodie.
Adam, from a kid who started playing poker in college to the main event final table, what has this experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's a game changer for me. I feel like I've had some good wins and stuff like that, but nothing like the final table or like a bracelet. So this is a step up for me and very fulfilling.
What will be the most memorable part of competing on this stage when you look back?
I mean, I saw my rail after I busted and, you know, high-fived them and stuff. And just saw them. That's very nice. I mean, besides like your wedding or maybe your funeral, like you don't see all your loved ones in one place usually. So that's pretty nice.
Congrats on the run. Thank you for the time.
And he's going to have quite the wedding, I imagine, with another $2 million.
Also, it's very rare you see your funeral.
That's also true, yeah.
Another.
Seen some huge hands.
I'm surprised it's done. I would imagine he just calls. It's usually his style to just want to get mixed up with flops, but.
And that's part of why we've had such an insane 2 hours. Every spot, Brent, where there's been a choice, do I call this raise or 3-bet?
Yeah, it's been like the higher variance.
Every guy, every time, has chosen the 3-bet approach. Nobody's passively played a big hand.
With the exception of maybe hand number 1, which was just a cooler.
Correct.
Wow, Mizrachi.
Are you serious?
Squeezing 2 jacks. What?
Which is it?
11,500,000.
Oh my goodness.
Double fisting with the Millie chips.
I'm telling you,
is there any
Kenny
world
Hallaert might have to fold ace king. Second in chips, seeing this type of action, 3-bet, 4-bet behind.
Bojovic, by the way, sitting there thinking, maybe this can happen again.
This is insane.
600K pay jump from 5th to 4th.
Can see him doing the accounting. I mean, the door's open where he obviously could rip it, but just think about that spot. You're second in chips.
And you have 75 bigs going into the hand.
And it doesn't look like Mizrachi's messing around, right? He's got a hand. He knows that Mizrachi has a hand.
In this specific spot, though, if he did rip it, I think Mizrachi folds.
He might. He might. I look at the sizing. That 40 million from Mizrachi, that's already committing his stack to Dunaway, who's the 3-better.
Right, but not to Hallaert.
Not to Hallaert. But I'm saying, I just don't think that ace king off is in any sort of position to want to just play a pot for the main event. But you'd be talking about more than 60% of the chips in play if it all went in.
Whether he's right or not, I think Kenny thinks he's the best player left. And is going to try to find a better spot.
I agree. This is not.
It's a great point.
This is not a hand you just want to get all in with right here, right now. Not with those payouts. Not with Bojovic having less than 20 bigs. This is sickening.
When he turned his head to the dealer, I thought he was going to just say all, looked like that when you turn your head to say all in, he turned his head to the dealer, said nothing, and now is turned back. I think he's folding.
And he does let go of the ace-king. Dunaway out as well, and Mizrachi extends his chip lead.
I don't blame him. I think you just kind of have to be sick about it and fold. And Nick, you nailed it. Kenny he feels very confident with his skill set. That is the type of spot he's trying to avoid at this stage.
And we haven't talked much because we haven't had room to breathe about the ladders and everything. So right now, if they had gotten it in there in that coin flip and Kenny comes up on the light side of the coin, he walks with 2.4. The next spot pays 3. Third pays $4 million. Second pays $6 million. And you have Bojovic sitting there with 16 bigs, and Kinney feeling like, again, whether he should or not, feeling like I'm the best player at the table.
In a clear-cut second place right now.
I'd have gambled.
If you would reverse the roles there, right? If it was Dunaway, second in chips with the ace, right? If that was Dunaway,
they were going in.
We were going to play
a $350 million
chip off for 60% of the chips in play.
Check.
Ace, king, one spade.
Can I do my best Ali Najad?
Please.
Najad for a moment? A lot of opportunities here.
2 million.
I thought you were going to say something very perverse, and I was ready for it.
No,
ready for anything.
That's not my style. Nor is it Ali's, of course. By the way, saw Ali's car when we were walking in.
He parks literally right next to the truck. You know, just premium access for Ali.
Surprised it's not nicer, to be honest.
Yeah. Is that like a tier C Bentley that he's got?
I mean, it's not tier A.
Yeah. I think his day rate must be higher than ours.
Slightly, I would imagine so.
Kinney turns a flush draw. God, I feel like we just need time to breathe. I can't imagine what those guys feel like.
Check.
Well, good
King
thing.
of spades arrives on the river.
The weird spot where
Wild.
151.4 million chip pot. The flop, kings looked cozy. Wozniak's rail was holding on. The turn, the queen. Hang tight, because you might think that it's the 10, but no, it's the ace that rolled off. I said it was the turn, it was the river. It didn't matter where it happened. That was going to be the reaction. I was shocked there wasn't any lava spewing out of the rail just based on the volcanic nature of things.
It was so breathtaking. And I mean, the grinder is putting together sort of the greatest run in tournament poker history in a lot of ways. You know, there's room for interpretation, but with the 4th PPC this year, being where he is right now in the main and just hitting that card, it's all just...
He only had 3 actual outs in that particular spot, making it even more insane. Just really quickly, though, Nick, he marches to the beat of his own drum, does the grinder. He's not out here amongst the ilk of the GTO that are often referenced in the high roller communities, just zigging, zagging, doing it his way and doing it to great effect.
Yeah, you know, he's a singular sort of talent in live poker tournaments, and I think you summed it up really nicely. This is insane. It's a really beautiful thing to watch. And you know, Grinder, it was funny. I played with him day 1 of the PPC and kind of knew he was going to win. Or at the very least, it was that feeling. It's all happening again. He's so calm. He's so hard to kind of deal with. And it's just a different sort of thing, man. And this is truly wild. For him to have the chip lead 5 left in the main is something else.
Well, listen, the wilderness didn't stop with the grinder. As we flash back to the moment for Margets, the hand that she played, we touched on it against Hallaert. It was effectively a hand of poker, but on a scale and a stage that likely the average poker player will never even come within sniffing distance of, Nick, and that's what magnifies both the joy for someone like Hallaert, who ends up emerging victorious with the flush, and also the pain when it comes to her in flush.
Is there a break in 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Great poker for days. I mean, it was really impressive. we can see slides into the lead, and we know the heartbreak is coming.
Those sixes, you could see Hallaert recognizing, perhaps more so than Margets Farewell did, that there was still stuff to fade in the shot.
Dunaway is relentless, man.
Hallaert makes the call. Jack 5-3, couple hearts.
Pretty tough for Kenny to continue if Dunaway can find continuation.
That is 4,500,000.
At just over 25% though, Brent?
Yeah, it's pretty small. We'll see. If he had the ace of hearts, I think we're certainly in. There's not a lot of turn cards that you're overly excited about. Rather than call, maybe he's considering check raise with this type of holding, but really tricky against a guy like Dunaway. His stack size, again, with Dunaway, started the hand around 35 bigs. That might be the one thing to leverage. Does just call, though, not done with it.
Bojovic has to be watching this like, oh my God.
Absolutely
What?
is.
Is there going to be
Again.
another massive confrontation?
Overwhelming, and the adrenaline dump, or all the emotions flooding out, I could only imagine. So
Well, as many emotional and spectacular moments as the World Series has delivered to us here this summer, for me, and I know for many who have come to appreciate the body of work that you've turned in over the course of your entire career, as well as here in the booth that many are thankful for, Nick, there was one that was very special. This man is far too humble ever to bring it up himself, but just get a look at New York's finest, who was inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame. Nick Schulman himself, 64th inductee. Cash Game Streets, I confess, you lightened my wallet for many years online when we rumbled together 2 decades ago. 7 times you've been adorned with a World Series of Poker bracelet, including here this year. Just for those that didn't have an opportunity maybe to listen to the speech, who hadn't had the opportunity maybe to just kind of get a glimpse into what that was like for you, share, if you would, the gravity of that.
I mean, it was a special moment. I have a hard time talking about these things because I find I don't really know what to say or how to put it into words. But of course, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I guess I'm such a big sports fan. In most sports, the Hall of Fame, it's over. Where I feel like I'm finally starting to play okay.
I'll take the over on okay.
But I'm saying, so it was a little bit. There was a little bit of angst with it, but, I'm very happy and all of that.
Well, as you've hit one out of the park, there's some people in the on-deck circle with respect to induction, Nick, and let's walk through them because prior to today's break desk, there were some names that you really singled out, and it's challenging because only one person can make it in every single year. There's a bit of a backlog, and there's some discussion about how to fix this, but let's start with who else but the grinder. Won his 4th PPC this year, and now he might win the main.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Seidel who said, just put him in. Let's just skip after the PPC. So I would think he has to get in at some point, we're talking about 4 PPCs and potentially the main, even just having this chip lead 5-handed in the main. this is iconic stuff. This is a one-of-a-kind legend, kind of like a John Daly in golf. I was thinking about other sports analogies. You know, he said something to a friend of mine that I thought was really profound one night, deep into the night. But he said, I understand things I just can't explain. And it really rings sort of true. You know, he just knows what you have a disproportionate amount of the time. He's a beautiful talent, so.
Well, what we've got is not too much time, but 5 other names I know you want to touch on quickly. Let's talk Jeremy Osmus, basically a part of the furniture when it comes to deep runs.
Yeah, I mean, Osmus has been one of the best players in the world for a long time, and his results are tremendous. And just the way he carries himself, you know, he's a great guy. He does it the right way. And that's what's so tough about the Poker Hall of Fame with the whole one gets in. I know some people have advocated for more. One is really tough, but to me, Osmus seems like a Hall of Fame type player.
Well, you do have to wait until you're 40 years of age to be eligible. Of course, first ballot, there are some people in that conversation. Last year, this man won 3 bracelets in 1 year, sort of bracelet.
Was the chip leader going into both day 7 and day 8.
Really special. It wasn't just that he won the 3 bracelets, but it was kind of the way he won it. He had one hand in deuce. That was really remarkable. Played high stakes mixed cash. He's great in every game and kind of a little bit larger than life. So, you know, Seaver's getting in as well.
It's been way up and way down. Back and forth and back and forth. Kenny, backpack off. We gotta play hand, man. Oh, nice catch on the rail. The one-handed snag of the backpack. Strong.
If I may, just very quickly, is this last hand before break, before we head out to the break desk. As Kenny has ace king.
Can I wear this Larry Bird shirt at the break desk, by the way, or no?
Well, you can wear whatever you want, Brent. I just want to thank you guys, Poker Go and everybody. I've talked about this a lot, you know, on my feeds on What's Right with Nick Wright, a little bit on the TV show First Things First. No free plugs, but there it is.
It's on FS1.
That what a true, absolute dream of mine it was to be a part of the World Series of Poker main event. And this has been one of the greatest honors in my career. And I greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. And I hope the audience has enjoyed it, as we might get one more big one before the break.
Well, let us say it's been an honor as well. I mean, not only have we been thrilled to get to know you over the last couple years, but for us to be in the booth during the main is like just awesome on another level. And when they mentioned your name, we thought that that was just the pinnacle for the two of us. Now, if we would have said no thanks on Nick, they would have still put you in here. And Mike, we did approve whatever that approval was worth.
Well, I appreciate it, and we might get one more big one.
Mizrachi's in there also with the 10-7. And he does flop to pair.
How does that flop
Jack 10-7? Hallaert, the Broadway draw, the open-ended straight draw for Waz.
I would be shocked if Hallaert put another chip in the pot on this texture, being called from the small blind and the big blind.
Check.
8 on the turn.
That is 4.3.
Assuming you're right, Brent, and Kenny does fold, it feels like a pretty clear, at least, call for Waz, though.
Certainly for Waz. Unclear even if Kenny will fold with the draw to the nuts and against Mizrachi, who might just do this with, you know, a solo 10x holding. Any pair, really. And Waz now just getting an incredible price with King Queen.
Great rail. River brings another 8.
And obviously not the card Mike was hoping to see.
Or really anybody was hoping.
Yeah, I think it's
take
just
advantage of it.
It's really more of a brick for Kenny and Waz. I don't think Mike is that upset, right? Kenny never has queens, kings, or aces. There's not a lot of overpairs out there. You could be a little annoyed if Waz somehow has like king, jack, ace, jack in this hand. But this likely just goes check through. I don't see Kenny being able to rep much.
King, jack, ace, jack is what I was thinking, but you might be right, the line doesn't make sense for that. And if it does check through, Grinder just adds to his massive chip lead.
Sevens and tens. Sevens and eights.
And Grinder's got nearly a quarter of a billion chips, guys.
He's got more than 40% of the chips in play.
The Michael Mizrachi show. Our show will continue as the players go to break. We have Ali Najad and Nick Schulman on the break desk for you, recapping the action, and then Ali and Nick will be in the booth as we remind you that Play Poker Go is where the action never stops, and now you can chase your share of $1 million in gold every single hour. Jump into free online poker with real players and zero risk. Play now at playpokergo.com, available on web, iOS, and Android. A very quick commercial, and then Ali Najad and Poker Hall of Famer Nick Schulman at the break desk.
To do what I have to do.
You know what my problem is? I just don't believe you.
Let's see what this footballer is made out of.
I'm an aggressive player. Stop showing off, mate.
Are you kidding me?
Anything can happen in a big game on tour.
Well, much to the disappointment of many out in the poker world, there will be no first female champion here at the World Series of Poker main event. Horseshoe Las Vegas, Ali Najad alongside Nick Schulman. And I'll tell you what, I think everybody could use a little bit of a breather as the hazmat team is out here mopping up the floor. Tremendous amounts of violence and bloodshed here. Many have fallen unexpectedly. Let's dive really quickly.
Luco, vous n'avez jamais été aussi proche d'une assurance.
Here, Nick, but just right off the top, you and I looked at one another on multiple occasions, a bit incredulous about what was unfolding.
Yeah, I know it's our job to talk during this segment, but I may be too breathless as well, so I'm going to need you to carry me. This has been really wild. I haven't heard a crowd pop like that when the Grinder hit that ace ever at a live poker tournament, so it's just...
Moins 10%, les deux mains gauches. Moins 10%, le mec parfait. Moins 10% tous les jours sur les produits Carrefour Bio. Bienvenue au club. Votre
That Queen 9 lacking durability, 3-bet by the King-King button of Wozniak, your chip leader coming in. The Grinder found himself the Ace-King. He's not afraid of variance, Nick. 4-betting to 30 million with 42 million back, and then the rest of the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, again.
Relief. 6 outs, 5 of them actually available in a 40 million chip pot as the 46-year-old South Korean software engineer tries to will one in, and he does!
Haven't seen one of those in a little while.
it is what it is. I'm very proud of how I handled the whole the whole thing until day 9, and I don't know. I mean, how crazy, right?
So much to be proud of. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Natalie, and thank you to Leo as well, because as we mentioned during that break desk, we were on hand when everybody was looking in the immediacy of the aftermath to kind of get her thoughts, and she very graciously said, I need a moment, and collected herself, and we know why, but then came back and shared that with us. So GG's to her, as a female champion in the main will have to wait. And Barbara Enright's record set back in 1995 as a 5th place finisher remains intact, as does Woznak's gut shot straight draw.
I love any time Woz does anything, the rail goes nuts. Check call, they go ballistic. We'll see for the grinder, does he keep applying pressure with these threes? He does a good job of not having Woz's hand and could bluff out something like 4s, etc.
Board texture that when you get check called on, you have some questions on blocking spades and all of the things like Woz has. He does check it back.
And now, right, maybe it's Woz who announces himself, but if he checks, these are always so tricky after checking the turn, but we have to think one of these two will be bluffing at this 17 million.
Well, 10 high generally doesn't get the sense it's going to be able to lay claim to what's in the middle. And again, the rail activating, as has Woz for 9 million here.
See if the grinder finds it, Ali. The raise, that is.
Yeah,
great play from Woz. Take it, sir.
One can feel so foolish when the raise does come in after we've let out there, but no concerns on this occasion. Well, we touched on Leo Margets and Barbara Enright, but they aren't the only two names that have etched themselves into the annals of deep runs for ladies in the main event. Kristen Fox, and of course, just 1 year ago, a 13th place finish, heartbreaker. Gael Bowman, you may remember, a 10th, notched back in 12, Elizabeth Hille, also with a deep run. And then Tiffany Williamson in 05. Those are the biggest payouts over the history of the main event for female combatants.
See what Dunaway goes for. It's a little bit tricky with Bojovic being the clear shorty, but he could definitely 3-bet this if inclined. Touch surprised to see just the flat, but it shows the willingness to fight.
5 million representing roughly 10% of his stack. And the surprise, I would assume, in part, is hitched to the 2 stacks to his left.
By the way, somebody let the grinder know he's got a lavender on the rail. He's in.
8-5 offsuit. That's what he wants to do battle with. He has found the open-ender on a 10-9-7 board.
Everybody's found a little something.
Hallaert, of course, would devastate grinder were the jack to roll off, and Dunaway with the 2 overs and the gutter. Interactions aplenty here in a 3-way affair. No follow through on Kenny's mind. Dunaway content to close the action quite quickly. Ugly duckling.
Huge card for Hallaert.
Yeah, for Kenny, it's actually quite attractive. Still just queen high, but you see the spade draw coming in. And you see Grinder doing what he's done so often en route to this massive stack, and that is lean on him.
It's interesting. Kenny still is somewhat uncapped. I don't think it's out of the realm for him to check great hands on the flop. Could go either way for him as far as call or raise. He knows the Grinder's not shy, which kind of makes one want to raise a little bit more than normal. But at the same time, if he winds up coming over the top, it's so devastating with a hand with so much equity. Looks like he calls. And for Dunaway, I think we have to close the action and call as well with a draw to the stone nuts. But it is 20% of his stack. Looks like with that smirk, he's likely gone. Perhaps not. The king is just good a fair amount of the time, too. Okay, huge river coming, Ali.
$48 million in the middle. Board pairing deuce. A real desiccant to what had otherwise taken shape.
Note the furrowed brow and the little squint.
Indicating determination.
We know the determination is there.
Look at this. The worst of three unpaired hands finds the barrel and finds the pot as the rich get richer.
That was tremendous. You could feel he really knew exactly where he was.
Oh, yeah.
Final table headlines. Leo Margets, best female finish in the modern era. $1.5 million went her way. Grinder, ace king versus two kings. Manages to find the needle on the end. As the 600K pay ladder is what we're fighting for now with 2.4 million on lockup. I always marvel at the expeditious manner in which these rails get these t-shirts printed up. Is there like a drive-through t-shirt printing service or something? You know, this is really, they get them designed, they get them printed, they get them distributed, and they're all rocking them.
This is a little bit close for the Grinder between all-in and just regular raise. The hand is so good. Does just essentially go for the all-in.
Easy decision.
Little pile driver out of the small. As he continues to pick fruit. Average age of the final table is when things get underway nine-handed, ranging from 30 back in 2018 to the largest figure across the span of a decade, 41, as the relatively elder statesmen perhaps have helped get us up and over that 40-year-old threshold. Queen Jack now for the Grinder.
Raise to 4 million.
Min raise. Bojovic with the dirty diaper. Hallaert with king 10.
4 million, right? 4.
It's a hard spot for Kenny playability-wise. Being in second against the big chip leader, especially the grinder. But of course, we're defending king 10.
Taking his time before paying the price of admission, which yields fruit. King, jack, deuce. Top pair against second pair, poised to take a bite out of the grinder, which has been a difficult man to chomp down on the day. He's been doling out more bite marks than he's been issued.
That is 4.3.
And now he doles out a C-bet. 4.3. Kenny coming with the call. Another 8.6. Flows into the purse.
A little bit interesting. Might the grinder want to sort of merge this second pair?
Check.
Checking back feels very normal, but a bet might garner some value from a slightly worse jack and might even confuse something like king 6. Remember, it's not just this clip Kenny has to worry about. Ideas of grinder blasting off on the river are alarming, but we would think with the king and the 10, we have to fight on once more.
12.6. Things getting a bit more serious.
And these sorts of ideas in No Limit are always interesting. This isn't a straight value bet. It's a lot more complicated than that.
You know, oftentimes when the action is not on us, we don't find players looking over at the person upon whom the decision lies, but rather disengaging and sort of allowing the person upon whom the decision is to look. But you see grinder just eyes darting over.
Some of it's a little bit stylistic, and it does just come right home for Mike.
Very stylish 7 of diamonds on the end.
He's about to cross the 300 mil mark.
Top pair flushed right down the tubes. Oh. And
I don't think Kenny is ever doing anything but check. However, I did see that jockeying of the chips.
Ultimately, as you suspected, he does check it over, and value, of course.
And you know, some of the grabbing the chips might be to freeze the grinder occasionally or to feign that he was considering leading.
Good luck with that.
Agree, but, you know, Hallaert is here as well, 5 left. We can see it won't work this time, but might the idea have been to deter grinder occasionally with air. 50 million will be garnering a fold in short order.
One never knows To what extent future game horticulture is on Kenny's mind as he plants the seeds, but he's going to plant that king right into the bin. And that's going to plant Mizrachi right up to almost 300 million in chips. He knows how to whip him into a frenzy. Get a look at this exclusive company. Two-time World Series of Poker main event final table lists. We knew Hallaert, we knew the grinder. Perhaps a bit forgotten the fact that Dan Harrington, Action Dan, 0304 back-to-back achievement. Ben Lamb also 6 years removed. Mark Newhouse, couple of back-to-backs for him as well. I always find that to be
Newhouse back-to-back was insane. Benba's really slept on with main event prowess.
Saout, of course.
Saout.
Suited and connected. Wozniak looks like he's got an idea. Deposits the 4 million.
And you know, this whole thing the grinder does where he always sizes Woz up and takes a little bit, it takes energy. That style isn't for everyone. I can't really do that out there. I gotta snap fold sometimes and keep it moving, but the grinder can.
Take it, Woz. His 5th ever cash at the World Series of Poker. First final table. Just 18 grand in World Series earnings coming into this one. Total of 143,000. What a dream this is, and it ain't over.
So cool.
Poker's been a lifelong hobby for John, who learned the game as a child. Used to play at the dinner table with grandma. Later with mom, aunts, and cousins. You know, it can actually go a bit wrong when the only people you're playing against are family members. You know.
Oh, definitely. Note, grinder cupped his cards with 9 million. Just kind of splashed the salmon chips on both cards. Yeah, you know, those family poker games can get a little heated.
I guess it would be weird to stack mom and then get grounded. Oh, yeah? You like that? Go to your room.
Good phone, good phone.
So the suited ace picking up another nibble. Well, while these 5 are living out a dream, perhaps you've got one as well of playing under the lights at the Poker Go studio. True Classic and Go are giving 15 players a shot at a $5,000 package to compete in the signature end-of-year event. Just head to trueclassictees.com/TCPokerGo or scan the QR code on your screen to enter, tell your story, and take your shot. As you get a look at the 4 denominations in play, 100K at minimum, then you got some chocolate, some salmon, and what are we going to call the 5 million chip, Nick?
That's tough. It's kind of a silver,
Yeah.
is it? You know?
Sure.
Although they don't look that silver out there. They look more gray, but in the image, all in from Dunaway.
32.3 million stuffed in an uneventful reclamation. B Done, as he's affectionately known, 1.5 million in career tournament earnings, suggesting chops without question. The 42-year-old who doesn't make his living playing poker. He's in the oil and gas industry. Likes to sabotage oil rigs and collect settlements. I made that up. Responsible for the Deepwater Horizon catastrophe. No, that wasn't him. He's a landman, like Billy Bob Thornton on that Paramount Plus show. I know you haven't seen it yet. It's quite good, by the way.
Okay, Ali, you know. Maybe you should start a blog with show recommendations and stuff.
That sounds time consuming.
I think it's all in time for the grinder.
Not so much due to the Jack 8, but rather just due to the opportunity.
Yeah, although the Jack 8, not bad.
That's a walk.
It's better than Jack 6.
Nope.
There once more is the gentleman in the beret. Keep an eye on that one. Among the more colorful characters assembled right now. Average stack as you look at the Oats Overnight Tournament Summary. Winning is easier with 20 grams of protein. Please shake responsibly. How about 116.8 grams of chips? In millions. That is the average at present.
I've never reached that stage of the tournament where the average is 116.
Do you remember your deepest run in the main, Nick?
200 something.
When you were down there, was it impossible not to kind of imagine yourself in this moment here?
You know, it was a while ago, Ali. I don't remember. I really punted it off bad. That I do remember.
Those ones stick with you too. And I think the fear of sort of a life-altering mistake that you won't be able to conquer sometimes does guide people into a more conservative approach. We saw a couple of big folds yesterday from Joey Padron in spots where he could have ascended to the chip lead, pocket 10s in particular. I recall, I think jacks were also in there, but Hallaert's not going to have any hesitations or reservations, I would imagine, about partaking with the ace-queen here in the face of grinder, big little, going to work.
We would imagine Kenny will go for the just defend. Again, Bojovic 22 mil, Dunaway 37. These are just sort of common ideas, although it looks like he is reaching Ali. And one thing that's for sure is playing to win this particular tournament, with it not just being top heavy, but of course winning the main is an achievement of epic proportions. Kind of like this from Kenny.
You're tempted to think that this reaction is somehow so simple. And if you're thinking that, you've never been here. And few have. But 10 million up top. We are 7.6 million away from the top slot.
That's a lot of millions, Ali. Good hand, sir. Earn that one.
Chubby folks.
Kenny, playing under the Belgian banner, lives in London.
I'm too curious for this game, so
$6
probably
million in career tournament earnings for the man they call Spacey FCB, 43 years of age, live events advisor at Poker Stars, and is sort of on all sides of the operation when it comes to poker. Seasoned tourney player, but
really just a nice guy, too.
yeah. I continue to really wonder how 8 years of being an electrician worked its way into being a professional poker player. I'm just, you know.
This spot is a pretty high frequency, just all in for the small blind in general. Dunaway under all sorts of pressure with that pay jump. And from the electrical streets to poker, you're right, Ali.
He's trying to zap B-Dun's big here. Not exactly high voltage, this Queen 8 of hearts, but worthy. Puts Braxton to a decision, which will be an easy one ultimately with the 5-3 offsuit.
Kenny is rail not as robust as the others? They're out there. I just heard the lone okay. It's not quite the Bojovic songs and...
You know, if the company he keeps is anything like he is, Nick, I suspect that a more reserved sort of crew.
Yeah.
Sort of the yang to...
Nice hand, Kenny.
The yang to Grinder's yin in terms of rails.
Well, the grinder rail you flat out don't want to mess with.
Tend to concur. We've not yet seen...
Could be going in here.
An all-out rail brawl.
And I'm rooting for one, Ali.
Dunaway ready to brawl. Unfortunately, Wozniak not going to be able to patronize.
7 high.
You know, like a Gangs of New York or Braveheart, sort of just they eyeball each other and then
it would be fantastic.
And, you know, taking nothing away from the staffing decisions that were made in an effort to secure this World Series, but the specimens I've observed, I don't think would be keen to get into the middle of that ruckus. I think it might be a... We got a situation at the final table.
We're in the Thunderdome now.
I think that's Dunaway's rail. Yeah. Well,
if it is, he's not really acknowledging. I don't know those guys.
Would think Grinder puts a lot of pressure on Woz in general in this spot.
Coming up empty on the Queen 10 tray board. Wozniak with middle pair.
Check.
Limped blind versus blind. Mizrachi taking a little stab.
And basically a snap from Woz.
Followed by a snap check on the turn here.
Sometimes with a hand like this from Mike, there are bluffing ideas to just bluff a variety of rivers. Goes for check. Winner for Woz unless the Grinder finds a way.
$3 million and take it. As John comfortably sought value on the end. The dearly departed thus far, if you're just joining us, began early. Daehyung Lee, the first casualty, followed by Jared Mingini. Leo Margets sometime after that. And then Adam Hendrix. Jax. What he staked his claim to. And I gotta say, Hendrix was sort of independent of chips and some of the favoritism that a deep stack might give you. One of my picks to make it down there, Nick. 2, 3 remaining. Grinder, of course.
Hendrix is great. And he can add main event final tablist to the resume, which is just no joke. You know, it's so impressive. Anybody who's made the final table of this event ever should be proud.
I don't think it's going to move the needle if for some reason things go awry and you find yourself in need of a gig at Subway or something like that. But it may not hurt. Maybe the manager is into poker.
Yeah. Yeah, Ali, definitely.
Mizrachi into this 10-8 offsuit.
Touch close for Bojovic. These spots are sort of, we know we have the best hand, but are still meant to fold type ideas. Not know we have the best hand, but very often like the fold.
You know, initially, each player was given 8 tickets to the rail. And I'm fairly certain it didn't take long for Grinder's rail to find a loophole of some sort, as roughly 80 bracelets were.
Before we went out, a couple of them were coming over freaking out. He's got 15 people out there. They flew out here. And they're saying we can't sit up. I said, buddy, I'm commentating. What do you want from me, pal?
I'd hate for something bad to happen to someone out here.
I'm just saying, if somebody gets knocked out cold, it wasn't me, but it was me. But it does appear they're finally up there.
Wozniak drawing butter.
Woz with the crabs and the Grinder with an ace.
Oh. The Inquisition to the tune of 14 million here. Suited ace for Bojovic. Nick, in the small, pressure mounts upon that ever-dwindling stack of his.
It does mount, but
he dismounts.
Visions of occasionally Grinder busting Woz are so exciting for Bojovic. And just ace-8. For Woz, does he want to peel and try to hit that crab?
We got a big hand here.
Is he going crab fishing, Ali?
Yes, he is.
And note the pot is 33 million. I don't know if that's lucky for Woz.
Not the worst board
Still
for threes.
in the lead. No, but a difficult one to play.
You got a red one already.
What was this? Grinder flashing the pocket
flashed,
fours?
I think he flashed the ace tattoo.
Okay.
Maybe there's a 4 there, though.
8.5 million the follow through.
You know, this scenario for Woz is just so hard to play. But the bravery is valiant. He's calling, Ali. Even 50 mil in there.
Counterfeiting nickel rolls off on the turn. The ace high now best.
And these spots are so interesting for the Grinder. He's the one who can have the boats. Woz really can't. We would think Mike thinks he's usually beat here or chopping. And he's really trying to put pressure on 6s, 8s, 9s. And of course, the other ace. We can see Woz somehow.
Yeah, bad turn. I had you before that.
All true. Take it, sir.
Facts, Woz. As the seemingly never-ending green candle continues to take shape on the Grinder chart. Well, this one is
wow,
perhaps an emblem of boredom in the truck, but we'll allow it.
No, I like this. G nicknames. Nothing but a G thing, Ali. Wow.
The great one, the Greek freak, the GOAT, the glove. I actually like a lot.
By the way, though, is that actually Brady's nickname per se? Like Gary Payton is the glove, but I think it's getting a little creative.
Wasn't it like the golden child or something like that? Or I thought I remember something. Surely Boston sports fans are going to be all over me.
We saw Hallaert unafraid with the ace-queen off. How does he want to play this king-jack suited?
It would be quite remarkable if this fictitious character, or perhaps not so fictitious character that we've conjured up on Grinder's rail, began to provide advice in situations like this.
That guy ain't fictitious, pal.
Do the right thing, Kenny. Don't be stupid.
It's 3-bet now. I'll see you later, Kenny. I'm just saying, brother. Oh, Dunaway in as well.
A big pot. Feel it.
And
Grinder declares he feels a big pot.
Somebody's busting.
Oh. Prophesizing is Grindstradamus. King 10 tray. Top pair for Hallaert. Second pair for Mizrachi. Doesn't seem like sufficient ingredients as it stands for someone to be sent packing with 14 million in the middle. There's the follow through. 5.5.
No road forward for Kenny, really, other than call. Don't like to speak in absolutes, but
He concurs. Dunaway's departure, a formality.
oh dear.
Lady in black on the turn, dressing Mizrachi with the best hand.
And you know, we would imagine Mike pursues further value, but Kenny's range is alarming and has all sorts of big-time coverage on this board. It isn't as if Kenny has that much King X, but he can have Queen Jack, Ace Queen, this one. And if we're Mike, we're trying to get more chips in right now, I do believe. And for Kenny, obviously nowhere to go but continue once more. Big pot here.
Believe mom and pop on the rail? Is it perhaps just efforting exactly who the presences are, as Mizrachi's effort is to the tune of 21.5 million? For Hallaert, the exit is not the option, and obviously the raise would seem reckless.
This is quite difficult. I would go for the call. I think it's clear, but maybe there are ideas that this sort of hand can just kind of rip or aggress beyond call. But he is going for the standard, let's call it 68 million in the middle. Grinder a 2-to-1 favorite.
The 4 is of zero concern.
I'll tell you what, Ali. This sometimes could be the end of Kenny Hallaert. It feels crazy to think that, but imagine how many hands Grinder is playing. And if you're in Kenny's seat, he can have so many bluffs from which to choose from. Note he sighs and looks back at his cards. It's really interesting watching him just kind of do his thing.
You think that's deliberate?
No. Not deliberate. I think he's just so free out there. He goes for 60 into 68, and I think this is going to take a little while.
60?
But nobody would be surprised to see Hallaert hero this off. Grinder kind of running away with this thing, Ali.
Well, Kenny's going to do a little math and determine if he clicks call and is wrong, as we can see he will be. Would be, rather. How much would he have left? And He is not in a rush to make his mind up here. This not making the decision any easier, Nick.
Matters complicated further. And he picked an annoying size for Kenny. If he calls and he's wrong, he still has 24. Bojovic 16. He does pay it off. He hears the bad news, Ali. Oh my. That's a lot louder out there than it sounds at home, too.
Like Terrell
421 million, yes, Ali.
Like Terrell Owens on the Dallas Cowboys midfield star. He is basking. And I'm not sure anyone's going to be able to tackle this man. 421 million. Hallaert devastatingly sent down the leaderboard. Now keeping Bojovic and Dunaway company 24-4 in the wake. I gotta tell you, if he just decides to drop the mic after this one, Vince McMahon should be the first call. You know?
That would be a cool arc for the Grinder to parlay this into the WWE.
His special move involves like a cheese grater or something like this.
Yeah, maybe he has chips. He's like all in and then knocks you out cold or something.
Yeah, he just sprinkles them on your lifeless.
72% of the chips in play. We see the bracelet there. They're saying it's worth $500,000. Kind of looks like it is.
Nick, there's a good bit of poker left to play. And I'm not trying to click my heels and ride a broom whatsoever.
Big slick for Bojovic. Go on, Ali. He is the outright favorite to win right now, if that was the question.
Is there really anything other than a misstep on his part or a sun run on someone else's that's going to be able to dethrone him?
You know, sometimes you just, a few all-ins don't go your way and all of a sudden it's close again. A lot can still happen, but we see the situation, Ali, as Bojovic says it. He's all in.
Precisely what he's been looking for.
See if Waz wakes up with anything. Oh, he does.
We've got a customer.
Waz definitely will be calling this 8 bigs and change.
Flicks in the call. And it isn't just the two participants on their feet. That 600K ladder and another step toward potential glory in the main could be upon us if the ace-jack cracks ace-king. As is so often the case, gladiators tend to head to their corners.
So, ace of clubs working for Waz.
And working hard. Steel wheel draw. The wheel obviously is a chop card. This one's sweatier than a streetwalker in church. Jack on the turn.
Devastating for Bojovic.
A tortuous changing of the lead. Bojovic not out of it. The king is of use. for the hole 36, the 5 to carve. And instead it's a 6.
What a run for Bojovic. Hard not to like that guy. You could tell how much his friends love him. They're still singing celebratory songs into the night. 5th place in the 2025 main. Very good game to you, sir. 2.4, Ali.
Add that to $700,000 in career tournament earnings across 81 cashes for the 36-year-old Serbian who lives in Vienna. A doctor and semi-professional poker player. Flatlining here in the main.
Sure. Yeah. Here?
Wozniak absorbing the remains
They're gonna,
of Bojovic.
They said maybe 3 if it was too quick. I think that was too quick.
Luka described his deep run as an amazing experience. Tried to stay grounded, take things one day at a time.
They're still playing.
Did warn us that Israel was going to be loud.
Still playing?
The Balkan crew from Serbia and Croatia flew out, but they'll be flying back.
And they're talking to the tournament directors right now about whether we're continuing or not.
Well, Hallaert, 24-4, Dunaway 30.3. This is quite the distribution right now. And the pace at which they continue to drop.
And obviously we could see cards are in the air.
The plan is to play down to 3, but we want to leave some meat on the bone for tomorrow's coverage. Six offsuit in range for the grinder. And I would imagine this has been a very pesky seat draw for Woz at this
It's a very pesky seat draw, and again, we can see how much pressure he's under with Dunaway and Hallaert short.
King 7 vanquished. Little footnote on Bojovic, by the way, you know, if you're wondering, as you listen to these rails become so boisterous, if it matters, he says more and more as things progress, he sees the rails with the flags and the friends cheering, and he says it makes a difference. You know, if you ever get down here, final table of the main, Nick, I know you got some real cool customers in the Rolodex, and there's going to be some fairly poised.
Cut to the chase, Ollie. Go on.
The rail. I am going to absolutely go nuts, and it is going to be somewhat embarrassing. So think about that when you're down to 10. You can punt and spare yourself.
Yeah.
Or make the FT and
it's
beware.
almost as if Schulman gave his chips away.
Well, King Jack not going to be giving anything away here. Wozniak on the button, arms crossed, chips soon to be deployed. Four left, Nick.
We would think so, Ali. He's taken sort of an odd amount of time, well within his right. Maybe he's thinking about sizing the open up to kind of deter Grinder from messing with him. Sometimes you reach a point in a hand where even though you should play, you gotta just sort of fold now after you've hit that kind of minute mark. I've been there plenty of times. You take that awkward amount of time where it's sort of obvious it's not a primo. we'll see if Grinder kind of picks up on this. I'm by no means saying Waz gave it away, but it was a long amount of time before the open.
You do have to be careful and make sure you're baselining if you are tempted to make something of these sorts of delays, because there's some slippery characters out there that will be quite balanced in these moments.
And Grinder does make it 16 million.
I tend to agree with you, Nick, that there was an odious scent to the time taken.
By the way, Waz might not be going quietly. Perhaps that was part of his pre-open calculations, but he is gone. And Grinder rallies the rail once more.
You know, I've got bios on all the players, but oh, what I wouldn't give to have bios on all of his rail.
Hey, real quick, Ali, shout out the chat. We have 105,000 people watching concurrently right now. Much love, everybody. What an amazing main event this has been.
That's unbelievable.
Take another one, sir.
You know, as long as we are
Now imagine it isn't.
turning
Now imagine it
to
isn't.
chat and some of the viewers.
Yes, Ali?
Souza. Oh, pardon me. Real James Call out there on
James.
X
Yes.
is inquiring as to where he can buy Spearmint Rhino coin, because he feels like that one's going to pump soon.
I apologize for dangling the chat in front of Ali. Note the Grinder fully facing Waz. You know, this is a lot. This is real life right now for Waz. And I believe he's ready for it, but this is a crazy situation to find yourself in. And when I say he's ready, I just mean he's embracing it and doing his thing. He's conducted himself very well. But you got the Grinder fully facing you, rallying his rail, leg crossed.
Our clock is paused and
What happened?
we're done. Break or done? It's over. It's done.
We have to do a color up. We're going to do some more filming and stuff, so just hang out for some moment.
I believe they're calling it a day, Ali.
Yeah, TD's
Leave a
on
little
hand.
meat on the bone for tomorrow.
And I got to say, Nick, generally speaking, you don't expect to be able to hit the rack with this little poker under your belt, or this few players remaining, when you play day 1 of 2 of a main event final table, and yet the tanks are going to get replenished, and they're going to have plenty left over to fight for the title tomorrow.
What are we doing? Buying these off? Yeah.
I confess I'm kind of sad. I was just really getting wound up.
You know, it just is what it is, my man. Tomorrow will be a great day. Can the grinder close it out?
I tend to think he can.
Well, he's certainly the prohibitive favorite, to say the least. 76% of the chips in play.
8 million?
This is lunacy.
Man.
It's going to be a bit of a David and Goliath affair.
I mean, forgive me, we've seen it all happen, but yet it's still shocking and hard to process. Look at this guy.
Just a surreal helping of tokens parked in front of Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, 4-time PPC winner, looking to add one-time main event winner, and he is well poised to do that. And as we draw the curtain, let's check in with Jeff Platt and Natalie Bodie.
There are a lot of chips here, and they all belong to this man, Michael the Grinder Mizrachi. It's hard for me to put it into words. Can you, how this day has gone?
It's fate, buddy. I've said 100% to win it. I felt it the whole time. I know. I'm 44. My favorite hand's 44, and it's won the Players Championship. Now I feel like I'm in a really good spot. I just felt like, I think in this spot it was just more experience, but I got lucky too. I got a lot of, the ace king versus kings, I got lucky, but the hand played itself, and another ace king. I mean, every hand, just fate right now. Just God, the poker gods.
Okay, on that ace king versus kings, before we saw river, did you still feel it? Did you still feel like it was happening?
Yeah, not the 10. I knew the ace was coming. I felt like the ace on the river. I felt it. I don't know. It's just weird.
What's it going to take to close this thing out tomorrow?
An hour.
Meantime, what you needed to do, but that'll do it, about an hour.
We broke records, huh? That was pretty fast. It was one of the fastest, I think, ever, right?
We might break some more records tomorrow.
We'll break it tomorrow. We'll finish off tomorrow.
Okay, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks, Grinder. Let's send it over to Natalie Bodie.
John, you told me you got really into poker during the moneymaker era. Does what you're accomplishing right now feel a little reminiscent of that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely similarities. I mean, amateur, working professional, making a deep run. Seems like there's a lot of fans kind of behind that story.
Quickly, just because you brought it up, how'd you get off work for a couple weeks? What'd your boss say?
We had a company-wide on-site this last week that I had to get out of to come down and play, so very thankful for that.
Very cool. Gonna toss it to Jeff now, standing by with Kenny.
All right, thank you, Natalie. Kenny, pretty quick day, I would say.
Yeah, I think we have time to do a pretty long interview because I'm not sure if ever, like in, what is it now, 4 hours of play, we got down to four-handed, and me having less than 10 big blinds and other stack having 10 big blinds, and yeah, could have finished this today, I think, even.
I know you got really involved in big pots later in the day, but earlier in the day, what was it like to be an observer to some of this?
Pretty nice, actually, because, I mean, if big pots are being played and you're not involved, it means that you're risking of not busting while other players are busting, and you're, let's say, making some money, so that's quite a good thing. Was actually fortunate to bust 2 players myself. But then, yeah, the last level was, or the last hour, I should have to say, a little bit unfortunate. Lost, most of my chips. So, yeah, I mean, that's poker. It happens. So, no, yeah, I mean, nothing to do about it, yeah.
Finally.
I'm still in. I still have a shot.
You're still in. You still have a shot. So can you give us just a basic glimpse of the game plan tomorrow?
There are people smarter than me around me. That will tell me what to do. Okay. They will brief me on everything. I'm quite sure about it. I will know exactly what I have to do, what I don't have to do, and we'll go from there.
Thank you for the time, Kenny. There's one more in this Final Four, and Braxton Dunaway is standing by with Natalie Bodie.
Braxton, a lot of support from Texas in the house. Who made the trip on your rail?
Just a lot of friends and family. A lot of people showed up.
Did you send out a group text? So how did that go?
I think I was just waiting to make sure that I made the final table, and it was kind of tough because everybody had rails already, and I was just sitting there like looking back like, oh, crickets when I want a hand. So it's good to have a lot of support that made it out.
You've said this week that it's felt natural that this would happen, that you've been present in every moment. What have been the emotions of this final table for you today?
I'd say everything's happened so fast, and there's been some wild hands. I've been pretty card dead and kind of chased a few times just trying to make something happen. So I've got myself in a tough spot. I just need to run fire tomorrow, honestly.
Big day tomorrow. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, B-Dun's going to be hunting a blowtorch to try to get it started tomorrow. And it will get started at 3 o'clock Pacific. 4 of 9 remaining as we buzzed right through 5. And we're still buzzing after an amazing partial day of poker with more to come tomorrow. Been a pleasure, my man. Short but sweet.
Likewise, Ali.
Set your alarms. 3 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow. The World Series of Poker main event is going to crown a champ. Don't miss it. Until then, see ya.
Bonjour à tous et bienvenue sur Totis dans ce nouvel épisode de Paroles d'Université. Aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir d'échanger avec Arnaud Lémé, qui est président de l'Université Paris 8. Bonjour Arnaud.
Bonjour à vous.
Merci d'être avec nous.
Bienvenue à l'Université Paris 8.
Dans cette première partie, on va s'intéresser à l'Université Paris 8, la présenter, parler de ses priorités. Est-ce que vous pouvez la présenter en quelques mots?
Écoutez, en quelques mots, Paris 8, c'est une université, mais pas tout à fait comme les autres. Une université singulière qui est née à l'issue d'un mouvement singulier aussi de notre histoire, juste après mai 68, où s'expriment des aspirations très fortes d'émancipation, de libération, de liberté, de libération de soi par des échanges culturels, interculturels, par la nécessité aussi de cultiver l'esprit critique. Et c'est sur cette base qu'en 1969, elle voit le jour à travers un centre expérimental, un centre universitaire expérimental à Vincennes, qui est implanté à Saint-Denis depuis 1980 maintenant. C'est une université qui est, comme je l'ai dit, donc tournée vers le souhait, qui exprime le souhait d'accompagner au plus près chacune et chacun dans ses besoins pour correspondre à la formation dont il aura besoin pour s'émanciper. Donc des publics qui sont très divers, un intérêt très porté sur l'innovation pédagogique, l'interdisciplinarité, et puis la capacité à créer des formations qui n'existent pas ailleurs, qui ont vu le jour chez nous. Je pense par exemple à la langue des signes, la psychanalyse, le genre, et puis d'autres qu'on imagine moins, mais aussi sur des domaines comme les sciences et technologies, en informatique, l'intelligence artificielle, la cryptologie, mais aussi également tout ce qui relève des arts et technologies de l'image. Donc un panel très large de disciplines et qui travaillent entre elles par l'interdisciplinarité.
Vous avez pris la tête de l'université, vous êtes devenu président de l'université en mai 2025. Quelles sont vos grandes priorités stratégiques?
Continuer à développer la signature